Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast from me, your host, Imperial Dane, Master of Propaganda, Hero of the Reich, Defender of the Fatherland, here to deliver unto your eyes and ears another glorious Propagandacast, a 1 versus 1. Again, on Semois, I know there have been a few complaints about a lot of Semois, but here's the thing I always have to say in these cases. I have to work with what I have, not what I wish I have, which is just also why, sometimes there's a lot of, Axis wins or Allied wins in short periods. It's, again, there are no other replays, in that sense, which, really feel, make any sort of good gameplay to watch and cast. So that is very much something, to try and remember, that there's usually a reason why there's, for example, a lot of Semois, and it's not because, I personally prefer Semois, it's also because there might not be a lot otherwise than Semois that has some good fights on it. And we are going to be seeing Gopepsilive playing as the Panzer League with the Kedenkrat clogging it already. Seph as the Americans, as the 1st Infantry Division up against Gopepsilive's 10th SS Panzer Grenadiers. Hohenstaufen, sending to support the 17th SS, actually. And there we go, sneaking in a bit of a nasty trick here to do, in fact, decapping or rendering the whole capping bit moot. It is certainly something which I hope we won't be seeing any more of in coming years too, for example. Partly because, again, capturing points will be slightly different. And then there will be a sort of small circle where you can then sort of territory within this can actually sort of stand in and take the point. So a slight difference, which also means finding a point is slightly different than in Common Heroes 1, which might actually make things a bit more interesting. But there we go, 10th SS had, alongside the 9th SS Panzer Division, detached their reconnaissance battalions and had them attached to the 17th SS, which I do believe were the parts with the light infantry half-tracks and what not. So, fun little fact there. Engineers here from Seph are trying to block the main bridge here for vehicles with a few Czech Hedgehogs, as they were known. Panzers, though, engaging the engineers. Give here for the fleet. We are seeing Rifleman Squad moving up to support. Seph has pushed up here the right-hand flank, though we are seeing Panzer Grenadiers reinforcing Gopepsilive's efforts on the right-hand side as well. So, question is, who shall break here first? In the meantime, we are seeing more forces moving up on the west-hand side. We're seeing a Kedenkrat up there. Nope, Pepsi, in fact, has a 2 Kedenkrat start, so that way secure as much territory as possible, while the Panzer Grenadiers do all the fighting. Certainly the hallmark of a better Panzer League player, and certainly something to note. You don't use Panzers to, take a lot of territory. You use it to shoot up the other bastards. You use Kedenkrats to take territory. And right here, Seph's initial engagement is not really faring out very well. There shall be no great poems to his heroics. No movies about Seph, at least not on this map. Though I'm sure Seph, the movie, would be a very popular movie amongst the Company of Heroes crowd. Again, crouching about there might go for the cutoff point at the same time, though we do see Panzers here going for it again, slightly negating what I said. Of course, great job there, Pepsi. Making me look like the fool. Well, I'll get you now, never mind. But of course, you can, but usually again, in this case, strategic, low fuel points, low munitions, alright, but again, usually what you want primarily to do all the capturing is Kedenkrats. But 3 and now 4 squads of Panzer Grenadier. We are seeing the Kampfgruppe Company going up for Gopepsilive. We're seeing the Kedenkrat here getting shot at a bit. Continuing for the cutoff point, denying Seph precious resources to fight on against the Huns, the Krauts, those nasty German persons. In this case, led by a nasty Frenchman, who did actually serve in the Waffen-SS. They had the, I believe it was the 33rd Division, Charlemagne. Was it the 30th? Somewhere around that, but a full SS Grenadier Division, I believe. Which apparently fought quite well, actually. And tended to be, ironically, the last ones to retreat. In the sort of, where you always sort of imagine the French are the first ones to retreat, these chaps are usually the last ones to. But at the same time, we do see Seph going for the fuel cut-off. I mean, considering how much Pepsi's been going for it, Seph, I imagine, is eager to return the favour into the face of the less Pepsis. And we are seeing another Rifleman squad out, so going to be 4 Rifleman squads, and this fuel point will fall, but will he be able to take this fuel point, or will the Panzer Grenadiers be able to force him away? And it was not uncommon for the Germans to actually detach battalions from one unit and then attach it to another unit for It's different purpose. It's usually to sort of create a more enhanced Kampfgruppe, if you know, punching forwards. I imagine, though, in the case of the 17th and the 2 reconnaissance battalions, was actually sort of buff it up, since the division was largely not very motorized, definitely not mechanized, and certainly also lacking in more experienced troops, in which case 2 battalions worth of reconnaissance troops with some half-tracks and certainly more experienced could perhaps be seen as, you know, as a method for, you know, toughening them out a bit. So, fun facts there. Panzer command up. This is rather common Panzer play, going straight for the armored car, the leichte Panzerspeerwagen, with the auto cannon on top. And we are seeing Panzers moving into the center. They're a bit spread out, but currently those Seph can't really muster any sort of direct fighting power. Kettenkrad sneaking about, circling about like a shark, with treads and an engine and a German soldier on it, so not quite like a shark anyways. And there we go, sticky bombs. And note here, Seph is actually mining this just in case he actually risks armored cars trying to chase down his troops. He can then actually disable it right in front of the machine gun emplacement. This is actually pretty clever from Seph, but of course also a slight, you know, a sign of Seph's optimism about the entire situation and where it's going to be going. No direction from us yet, and again going for the fuel point. Pepsi absolutely keen on harassment, definitely using his Kettenkrads for the full effect. And we do see Seph again trying for this, but he doesn't quite have the same, you know, level of success. Fighting going over here. He could consider some grenades to lob at these, you know, clumped up Panzer grenades or some Browning automatics to just overall increase his firepower. But the Kettenkrads are definitely proving to be a huge nuisance, and he basically just pulls back and waits again, enjoying a mug of stale and warm beer in the meanwhile. But mine's going down continually. And there we go. Mine actually went off, killing some poor Panzer Grenadier. And I imagine Seph might try to hunt it down. There we go. The Kettenkrad is on the move again. An absolute bastard, that Pepsi. Browning automatics though on the way for the rifleman. And there we go, an armoured car out. The first of many. And there we go, Unity Commander fires the armoured car, rolls in. And we're seeing reconnaissance run. Oh dear, and oh no, a recon run which went very much awry. The aircraft was shot down and crashed away in a very lonely field away from all the action. Not entirely sure what Seph was intending there, but that definitely did not work out for him. And right near fighting against an armoured car, they will be going for a sticky bomb. And there we go, making a run for it. Oh, didn't even get any engine damage. Bollocks. Right, I'm going for the high munitions there actually. Seph having a nice sort of prong movement going on here, although getting a bit battered here. More Panzer Grenadiers arriving. No assault rifles in there. We've got second armoured car out for Gopepsilive. Trio center going up. Seph could consider medic stations, you know, sort of keep up with casualties, keep attrition down, you know, continue, you keep up pressure on Pepsi. But there we go, this is not looking up. We're seeing a larger engagement going on here. Lots of Panzer Grenadiers arriving in this squad here, not doing too well, needs to retreat. One squad getting suppressed, and we're seeing an armoured car moving in. This is going to get very, very, very ugly, and some chaps might not make it back home. And this rifleman squad, yeah, we go, getting slowed down, and Pepsi finish it off. Vicious, nasty stuff, and again, going for the fuel point. That Kettenkrad is absolutely, unbelievably a pain in the arse. Again, very, very vicious, very aggressive harassment play by Pepsi. And certainly a good move, although of course only lasts until the time that Seph finally decides to stomp it out. And now it looks like Pepsi might not be paying attention. He could actually end up losing the Kettenkrad. There we go, damaged engine. This is definitely the end. Though again, Pepsi has denied precious fuel and territory to Seph. But of course, question becomes, was it worth it? And I imagine Pepsi's response would be, oui.
They're going after
But Seph is a bit under pressure, but he's still, you know, making some good concerted efforts. But again, you know, he's also running into a bit of problems. And I still don't know why he called in that recon run. That was a sort of a weird way to also announce, hey, I've gone airborne. And of course, question becomes, should he have gone airborne? There we go, though, sticky bomb on the armoured car. And it gets immobilized. Oh my goodness, talk about one great sticky bomb. And that armoured car is definitely not going to make it back home. And there we go. Leichte Panzer Spielwagen kaputt. Right now advancing, coming under heavy fire from our cars. Panzer Grenadiers with Gewehr 43s. More about, they're charging straight at the Panzer Grenadiers. Right now are taking heavy losses. The armoured car, the Panzer Grenadiers, all the Gewehr 43s, all the semi-automatic German rifles tearing through the Americans. Oh, the inhumanity. Let's go a good look at Pepsi. And we are seeing another armoured car on the way to replace the one lost to those vicious and nasty Americans. And again, Seph continues his efforts up there. Less effort there, and there we in fact seen Gopepsilive retreating everything from here, probably to partly deal with harassment on the left flank. So in that sense, I mean, Seph is reacting very nicely. He's, you know, bashing his head into a Pepsi-shaped wall, or Pepsi-marked wall, whatever, but instead, you know, trying to sort of draw him away. And again, that also means, of course, Pepsi will have to spend a lot of time moving from point A to point B, which again gives Seph more time to take points, and then shift all back there again, basically keeping Pepsi running from point A to point B. Panzers, though, quickly take up position in the church with their Gewehr 43s, rather than moving up. Supply outdone for Seph. Panzer support command up for Gopepsilive. There's nothing coming out from it yet, and quite a few bit of manpower being flowed right there. Ken Crab makes a run for it and makes it. By Jove, it makes it. It's machen this. And returning that point to German control. Mine being swiftly dealt with over here. And we are seeing a small position up here. Panzer goes nearby. Rifleman taking up position in the house there. Though they should be careful, they could find themselves cut off. But there we go, armoured car coming under fire from the house. Although, not really very impressive fire. And there we go again, Seph once more shifting the efforts to where Pepsi again isn't. Very nicely done, very nicely done. Rather than quickly getting out there as he finds himself surrounded. Or they found themselves surrounded by armoured cars. And they are very low, very low. Get them out of there, Seph, get them out of there. Men are quickly dropping. At the same time, pushing up there. Going for the victory point down there. Seph very intent on keeping them. Riflemen need to get the bloody hell out of there. Veteran Sergeant's up for Pepsi. He's actually going for the route that actually gets them more veterancy. Interesting. Also makes them harder to suppress, which might actually make them easier targets for a strafing run, by the way. Oh, there is certainly some disagreement by that, apparently from Pepsi, even who's gone it, despite, you know, his opponent going airborne. And looks like Pepsi's gone for a doctrine as well, and of course he's gone Luftwaffe. Yes, I forgot about that. Silly me. Amakar quickly moving in, getting off a good few shots here on the riflemen, though they might be able to cut the point off there. At the same time, though, Pepsi having a nice blockade here with a few squads, denying vital resources. Motor pool up for Seph, so we're probably seeing an armoured car. Hopefully also some anti-tank guns. And we're seeing airborne infantry out for Seph now. Interesting move. And there we go, recoil rifles. Not that effective against armoured cars. They do have a bit of a harder time hitting them. In that sense, ranges might have been more beneficial. But there we go, rifle moving forwards. I don't see any suppressive fire from the rifle, which could have worked, but we do see one. Oh, Panzer squad actually went down. Pepsi lost a squad of Panzer Grenadiers, the airborne, the rifle, and flamethrowing units continue to push forwards against the remaining Panzer Grenadiers, holding up the marketplace with another few from a nearby field providing support with fire as well. Another squad run off, down to 2 men, low health. More Panzer Grenadiers are dropping like flies, and there we go, another squad pushed off, very low health as well, leaving behind only one squad in the nearby field. Mine goes off, killing another Panzer Grenadier. Airborne charging forwards, M1 carbines and recoilless rifles shooting left and right, and there we go. Pepsi's stranglehold there was rather broken. Seph crushing it with a nice American boot. And at the same time, we do see Luftwaffe's troops arriving to conduct repairs for Pepsi. And note he's actually retreating it, so it goes faster from here to there.
Our supply lines are broken. We have territory out of supply. Welcome to our Schützentrupp, Grenadiers. Send your orders.
Engineers moving up there, going to engage the Kettengrad. Armored cars pulling up there, lovely. But all 3 victory points actually in the hands of Pepsi. Question is Seph actually paying attention?
Americans are seizing territory from us.
And so far, we're actually seeing the Kampfgruppe Company upgrade going out for Pepsi.
Are available for deployment.
So he's clearly heading towards the Panthers. Again, very common Panzer League movement. But there we go, going for the victory point. Needs to get the fuel point. And, you know, also going for the fuel point up there. Although we do see a very, very large Panzer Grenadier force going to move in and evict the Americans. At the same time, force pushing up in the center. Armored car ready now to deal with the German ones. Could even consider trying to lay down some Greyhound mines. But there we go, Ravner quickly pushed off. They are no match for this display of violent German firepower.
The enemy is impacting.
But so far making progress all over the place. Pepsi moving into one very small force. I mean, a strafing run here would be absolutely devastating, I think. And as of course the flak feelings managed to shoot it down again. In which case, obviously not so much. There we go, putting into town. Actually, Seph pulling back his armored car. That was interesting. Perhaps he's trying to lure in the German ones. Who knows? But there we go. They are spotted. But will he be able to get them? And we've probably seen, yes, there we go. Anti-tank half tank on the way. Panzer grenades in a huge horde. Come on, Seph, do some damage. And here, a grenade would also be excellent, you know, from Seph. But again, also a strafing run instead. I think Seph is worried about an anti-tank half tank, but of course he's yet to see one. So in this sense, he's actually giving Pepsi the advantage without quite knowing the full picture, which I definitely think is a bit of a shame, as his armored car definitely does not get to shine as much. There you go, Panzer goes advancing. Perhaps he's, you know, just frightening Seph, I'm not entirely sure. But Seph is playing incredibly, you know, nervously. He seems rather intimidated by Pepsi, despite the fact he's currently only got infantry. We do finally see the anti-tank half-track out, but for the larger part, you know, there's been nothing like that to actually stop the armoured car, and instead of, you know, being able to do a lot of damage, he's been considerably more restrained. And now we do see a Wirbelwind flak panzer coming out to support Pepsi, perhaps keep the skies clear a bit. Armoured car continues to pull back. Kettengrad up north, though, taking heavy damage. Ravenscorp manages to knock it out. Panzers here continually under fire. Airborne riflemen advancing. The walls behind which the Panzers are hiding are simply crumbling under intense fire as heavy munitions are lobbed at it. Armoured cars moving up. Flamethrower engineers moving up. Panzers finally beginning to suffer some losses. Anti-tank half-tank moving up. Wirbelwind moving in, following up in tow. Panzer gun is being pushed back by some very aggressive play from Seph. There we go. Flamethrowers even burning back the Panzers. Airborne will call his rifles. And we do actually see the Wirbelwind moves forwards, opening up a gap in the cemetery, but also gets a bit slowed down as bits of rubble get stuck in the treads. And of course the ground become a lot harder going. And there we go, damaged engine. Airborne might have a chance. There we go, right moving up. They could also try and get off a sticky bomb. If they could get the anti-tank half-tank, that would actually be a great boon for Seph. And there we go, very close to getting it, very close. Oh, he did not get off a sticky bomb. Oh, what a shame, what a shame. He did not get the anti-tank half-track. So close. So bloody close right there for Seph. But Airborne only slightly pulling back, reinforcing but not quite getting out on the fight, still retaining a defensive position to at least deter Pepsi from advancing any further, lest he fancies getting hit and possibly even losing a vehicle or two. But again, he rather did not succeed in getting the anti-tank half-tank, which would have opened up things very much for his own armoured car. We do see an anti-tank gun rolling out. Will Seph be able to get here in time and, you know, keep up some pressure on the Germans? And a second anti-tank half-tank is up. So in this way, I mean, Gopepsilive just pretty much protect him, well, ensured himself against getting hit by 2 armored cars and suffering that way. Riflemen coming under heavy fire. The Wirbelwind mounted on the flak feeling. The flak feeling mounted on the Wirbelwind. Opening up the rifleman, the heavy cover does proper protection. Armored car moving up. Anti-tank gun getting closer. Rifleman following up. Airborne close as well. And Seph once more making progress on the flanks as well. Let's go have a look at Seph. Fighting heroically. And there go the anti-tank gun. This armor car's not been repaired. And there we go. The anti-tank gun scores a kill. Knocking out one of Pepsi's armored cars. Fighting continues in the town centre as riflemen huddle between what remains of the cemetery walls for cover. Friends dying and screaming, falling down behind the tombstones. As heavy German fire falls down upon them, they are unable to actually flank the German position. Anti-tank guns, armored cars providing what heavy of weapon support there is, if any. But there we go, some of the Panzer has actually been forced away. The losses are sufficient enough. And there we go. Oh, Panzer squad went down again for Pepsi. We're seeing another anti-tank half-track actually out for Pepsi now. So, oh wait, no, man, he actually, oh, that was an armoured car. Damn it, losing track of things. My apologies. Anti-tank though needs to quickly move out, I think. And there we go. Wirbelwind taking heavy damage. Anti-tank half-track from Pepsi are now getting very cautious. They do not want to risk an anti-tank gun, so they can't really survive much from that. And that Wirbelwind's also going to go down. Seph moves forwards, very intent on knocking it out, and there we go, immobilized. On the other hand, he could try and airdrop one in and, you know, support the entire effort. That could perhaps work if it was done in a sufficiently clever manner. But no, mind. Troops are getting reinforced. He lacks the manpower. Very close to getting that Wirbelwind, but looks like he might get away. Airborne moving up. Main gun destroyed. Rifleman taking a beating unlike any other. And there we go. Wirbelwind down, but so is the Greyhound. And oh no, I think Seph is getting a bit too overcautious. He's advancing the anti-tank gun with nothing to cover it. The armor car could quickly flank it. He needs to pull back. Pull back. Mortar half-track now for Pepsi. Light infantry half-track with a mortar instead, though instead of guns and room for actual infantry. Oh, I definitely think that was a mistake by Seph. He wanted that armored car, but instead he lost the anti-tank gun. And these airborne might also go away now as well, as the retreat path has been cut off by a large amount of Panzer grenadiers with offensive infantry and an armored car with offensive infantry. I mean, Seph's just getting torn apart. Although we might see the Luftwaffe troops going down. There we go, veteran John the Rifleman. But definitely a very expensive engagement for Seph, and I don't ultimately think that was fully to his advantage. He should not have pulled forward that anti-tanker that much, and he definitely should have retreated those airborne earlier. Seph basically got a bit too optimistic, a bit too hopeful about his chances of delivering a serious blow. And of course, had it worked for some reason, I mean, he really could have, you know, delivered a knockout blow to Pepsi. But, you know, that's the sort of thing. I mean, you have to evaluate risks in company of heroes. Sometimes they work off, sometimes they don't. In this case, it looks like Seph made the wrong call. Mid-game Midway's analysis currently, you know, rather, I mean, it's looking pretty good for Seph territory-wise. He's cut off Pepsi from a lot. He's going for other points. But he's a bit lacking unit-wise. He's not got a medic station to keep things churning about, you know, keep up the pressure that way. He lost his anti-tank gun, he's lost his airborne squad, so he doesn't have any recall his rivals either, you know, to add in a bit. On the other hand, Pepsi still got a decent amount of Panzer grenadiers. He has armoured cars, anti-tank half-tracks, mortar half-tracks. I mean, Seph is in a bit of trouble there in that sense. He's dealing with a large mechanized force with some solid veteran infantry. He can't quite muster the same amount of firepower. So he needs, you know, to keep, you know, running about, and needs to get something out. And he needs those anti-tank half-tracks gone, and the armoured car, then he might have a chance. Another Luftwaffe escort arrives. For Pepsi, the trick is basically, you know, to push out. He needs to be a bit careful, of course. I mean, the force he has left, though, is a bit of a vulnerable one. But still, he needs, you know, to make efforts. He needs to make ground. He needs to kill some Yankees. And he needs to secure the centre and the victory points there. So, let's return to the fight and see how this evolves. Let's see how that rolls, and there we go. Mortar half-track opening up, and the engineers going for the fuel pump, but looks like they are able to render it neutral. Mortar round suppressors. Come on, Seph, save your engineers, man. Save them. Come on, Seph, you're being absolutely too optimistic there, I think. Down to one man with a sliver of health and a flamethrower tank on his back. And he just barely manages it. That was bleeding close. Seph now saving all our resources. He might be going for something. At least I hope he is. And there we go. Something's going up, I believe. A Greyhound more. I don't think that's what he needs. I don't think he needs another Greyhound. If I have to be perfectly honest. Seph being pushed back out of the town. Opening up for an approach by Pepsi. And there we go. Mine actually goes off. Suppressing but not killing any of the Panzer Grenadiers. And Pepsi is quickly advancing. He can even push in the Luftwaffe troops to take some territory as well. Though he's currently using them to take back the fuel point.
We're here. Someone recce a Greyhound?
There we go. Another Greyhound out for Seph. And we're actually seeing supply drops going out for him as well. And he secured himself a 30 caliber. Interesting move, interesting move. No attempt at the mortar. That could perhaps alter a bit, at least against the Panzer Grenadiers. Kettenkrad moving northwards. Armor car moving in. Panzer is quickly retreating though. And there we go, the mortar half-track moving up with some swiftness. Probably going to open up on the church. Anti-tank half-tracks in a nice rearward position, the reserve position, if you'd like to call that, which is more the sort of position where you can then sort of pull them in where they're needed. Attacking here, send them there, attacking there, send them there. Sort of reasonable distance as well, instead of, you know, having to get them all the way up here and then there. So, for example, again, sometimes it's a good thing, you know, to have a unit in reserve instead of, you know, directly at the front lines, as it does give you some more options when it comes to actually defending. And can be something that can be a bit forgotten. But 30 caliber, oh dear, Seph. I think you got a bit, again, too optimistic. I get the feeling that he keeps making these wrong calls. And there we go, again pushing forward to the armored car. Not entirely sure what Seph is hoping to achieve there, and quickly gets it immobilized. Another airborne squad down for him. Armored car taking a lot of damage. We do see recoilers rather than he could secure it. Instead, he goes for the anti-tank gun, which is heavily damaged. He needs to push up things. Armor cutting and blasting. Anti-tank and opening up. Might actually be able to get something, but there we go. Down, rifling up. Recoil his rifle. Mortar rounds down. More riflemen, and of course these two veterancy 2 chaps with the recoil his rifle. Double defensive veterancy. And there we go. He's actually calling in a strafing run. Not entirely sure that was worth it right there. Heavy anti-aircraft fire fails to actually knock it out of the sky. And there we go, Seph's infantry pretty much stumbling out of that one. Again, medic station would have been nice. And the anti-tank gun is pretty much no more as well. And Pepsi, well, he largely came out of that one all right. I mean, he didn't lose as much as such. Most of the damage was done to vehicles, which the Luftwaffe troops can quickly repair. So definitely a bit of a shame there for Seph.
Airborne, front and center.
And that 30 caliber was basically just wasted. I mean, I think it would have been better if he'd pull it up there and then open up with some armor-piercing rounds on the sides of the vehicles and half-tracks. That could actually have resulted in perhaps in a single loss of an anti-tank half-track or something similar. But there we go, Panzer on the march, moving past their Schützenpanzerwagens of different variations. This one, by the way, was used as a squad leader vehicle, the 37mm gun, actually not functioning in an anti-tank purpose, but more in an infantry support purpose, as a small gun, you know, basically lobbing away high explosive shells. Could, of course, also deal with lighter vehicles, but there you go. Moving up, they were quickly getting suppressed, and again going for the north fuel point, but encountering a heavy armor car, and another recon run. quickly doing a lot of terrible damage to the Panzer Grenadiers right here, pinning them down, causing quite a few kills, resulting in the retreat of 2, and looks like the Riflemen ignoring the last one, which quickly opens up in return with their own Browning automatic, and there we go, the active manages to suppress the Riflemen, unleashing a volume of death, and there we go, mortar rounds landing down on the Riflemen as well. The Panzer Grenadiers able to do absolutely terrible damage to the Riflemen. Oh, Seph, you're being a bit incautious. Mortar half-track, though, definitely earning itself in. Armor car quickly reacting to another attempt of harassment by Seph. Good for dealing with flankers and the likes. Rifleman taking a blasting, and there we go, another force moves up the center of Rifleman Airborne engineers with flamethrowers, overwhelming the Panzer Grenadiers and finally pushing them off. Rifleman reinforcing there. Pepsi conducting a minor retreat, not risking too much at the moment. He knows he has the upper hand largely at the moment, force-wise anyways. But he needs again to be careful because again these are largely lighter vehicles, which means they can very much quickly go down, but they can also devastate Seph under the right conditions, since they do have an awful lot of firepower. So that is something he has to be careful about. And another strafing run. Huh. Wonder where that one went down. Ah, there we go. Fair enough. So many aircraft actually getting shot down. I'm sure the Flak Abteilung of the 17th SS is quite proud of itself in knocking out all of these aircraft. It looks like the Flak Bierprevents are the ones actually, Flak Feelings actually the ones scoring all the kills. Panzer still quickly taking up dominating position in the house. No grenades though from Seph, which could have been used to sort of dig out Panzer gunners, and we're seeing Fallschirmjägers from the 3rd Fallschirmjäger Regiment actually being prepared.
Fall in.
Fall in. There we go. A few Fallschirmjäger ready to take on the Yankees for the fatherland. And Pepsi sneaking out a Kenkrad again, doing what he does best. Kenkrad harassment, apparently. Penske is quickly shifting over to the church for some increased line of sight to keep a track on Seph's movements, and of course also acts basically as a bit of a spotter for the mortar half-track, calling in targets. And using the Luftwaffe troops to actually wire off. Nicely done there by Gopepsilive. And again, Seph sneaking in for the fuel point. And we also see actually Pepsi does have access to the Panther battle group, but he does not have the sufficient population nor resources for it. So of course in that way, you know, if Seph continues to harass, of course he will deny Pepsi continually the ability to call in the Panther battle group, which is definitely what you want to do. At the same time, tank depot going out for Seph. Tank depot. Lovely. About damn time. FG-42 getting equipped for the Fallschirmjäger.
The enemy remains strong with 300 points.
Should definitely increase their firepower. Mortar rounds falling down. Lining up for a next wave of assault, and there we're going out just as their comrades run back with their tails between the legs. And there we go again, Pepsi going for the harassment up there. Very nasty, very tricky. We are seeing the infantry pulling up there. Pepsi's forces are a bit spread out. And we're also seeing a forward barracks up in the cafe. We're not seeing the Fallschirmjägers actually pull up to support their brethren at the front line. Come on, Menel. There we go, Riflemen suffering, excruciating, and there we go, grenade on the Panzer Grenadiers, killing one, but it's ultimately not enough. Mortar rounds falling down very close. Cemetery walls continue to crumble under the intense fire, and again the Kenkrad pretty much runs off. And there we go, the Fallschirmjägers moving up through the ruins of the cemetery, quickly getting into the church. There we go, a bit of heavy fire being directed against the Americans. The FG-42 here sort of working as an assault rifle, and I believe it could actually, but it was actually intended as a bit more of a light machine gun, partly also a bit like a battle rifle, like the BAR. So fun little facts there about the FG-42. Rather than pushing forwards, if Fallschirmjäger pulling back, Panzergrenadiers here running into a bit of trouble. More Panzergrenadiers moving up. Heavy armored car fire. Airborne moving up, opening up on the armored car. And there we go, strafing run, pinning and killing quite a few troops in the cemetery. At the same time, Luftwaffe troops holding up where it can. Airborne taking up a dominating position in the house, firing down upon the armored car. Absolutely nice push. And we also see a tank destroyer in from Seph. He could try and push it in, actually get off some nice damage here on the things here. Very close at the same time for Pepsi calling in a Panther battle group. Very close, he finally has the population. Sticky bomb on the mortar half-track. Airborne were not quick enough to get out and push up with the assault. In fact, we're seeing 2 mortar half-tracks, a small mortar battery for Gopepsilive. Mortarans flying through the air.
Losing a sector.
Airborne moving up. Very close. I think again Seph is trying to sort of, you know, destroy some things in. Oh, Panther battle group once more halt because he needs to reinforce, and he's also getting another Kettenkrad. 2 tank destroyers out now. If Seph wants to do something, he has to do it quickly. I mean, this is a very nice position. If he could sort of push it in quickly with the Hellcats, he could probably knock out several of the half-tracks, cripple Gopepsilive in the process. But of course, it has to be done the correct manner. And with some infantry support. Possibly some airborne abilities as well. If you could get off a good bombing run at the same time, I mean, that could absolutely ruin the day for Pepsi. But now Seph is again playing a bit cautiously. Waiting up, lining up. No alarm and no charging forwards. Giving Pepsi more time to get what he needs and get his vehicles into condition again. Had the half-track, I mean, the Hellcats charged in right now. They could pretty much have gotten 2 mortar half-tracks and an armoured car. That'd be nothing else to really hold things together. Particularly since the anti-tank half-tracks were quite removed. So definitely think Seph's caution is at the moment actually hurting him. To be honest.
The enemy has fallen to 200 points. Ready for orders. He must be further injured.
Fallschirmjägers taking up ambush positions in the cemetery. Disguising themselves as undertakers, I imagine. There we go. Seph sending in the infantry first to clear up the troops from the churches. Half-tracks getting repaired. Smaller forces being diverted here. 1,000 man being floated for Pepsi, and again we all know what he wants. And it rhymes with banter. Hellcat slowly advancing. Come on, Seph. And there we go. Panther battle group arrives. And there we go. The Hellcats push forward. Hellcats push forward. And we're seeing a bombing run called in, I think, at the wrong moment. Oh, at the wrong angle as well. Oh, dear Seph. That was an absolute clutching up right there of epic proportions, and now both half-tracks are disabled in the middle of the road, and the Panthers are arriving. We do see one anti-tank half-track going down, but I fear it shall not be enough. Firing away at the Panther, but... And he's not even focusing it down, he's splitting up his fire. This is definitely not working out. Right and advancing, but getting killed by the Luftwaffe. And there we go, the anti-tank half-track is down, and there was nothing else to support this assault. Mortar half-track actually went down, but at the cost of 2 Hellcats. And the waste of that munitions on that bombing run. Again, I think Seph made the wrong call. And question becomes if he actually went for the right doctrine at this stage. If a Clive, he might not have been more his forte. Plus, then he could also have had a war machine up to support it. But there you go. So Seph is once more left with largely only infantry to hold back Pepsi's Panzer Grenadiers and Fallschirmjägers. And there we go. Seph advancing in force. Supply drop being called in. Pepsi's considerably large vehicle pull up. And we're actually seeing a Berger-Tiger getting called in. Panzers here, they're holding down most of the infantry. We do see the airborne advancing. They could throw a grenade into the ditch and clear out the Panzers there, but they quickly pull away. Probably aware that Seph does have grenades, and there we go, grenade on the other ones. Will they be getting away? Yes, but one man dies in the bushes. And there we go, two men left behind the fence, trying to provide further covering fire, taking down several American troops before they're finally run off. As the wooden fence proves to me not quite the fort they have been hoping for. BAR left behind but not picked up by anyone. Panthers half-track somewhat ready, and there we go, Berger-Tiger, klar. And 40 Megas and Panzers opening up on the right, they're forcing them into the house, into safety, or at least the illusion of safety. 40 Megas opening up, tearing through the fence, Reibner quickly going down as intense fire. It's a strafing run! Oh, devastating the Panzers on the 40 Megas. Absolutely nasty stuff right there. Very vicious. And there we go. The Berger-Tiger rolls forward. And then stops. Cadencrat's now basically just keeping an eye on Seph's movements. Tons of machine guns and mortars lying strewn around the base. Nobody wants those. There we go, moving up to recover the mortar half-track. Though there wasn't actually anything as a Berger-Tiger, the closest was the Berger-Elefant. Otherwise, usual recovery vehicles were either a Berger-Panther or a Berger-Panzer III. Might also have been a Berger-Panzer IV, basically some very heavy half-tracks. And there we go, BAR picked up. Airborne me coming under fire, butterfly bombs being called down. Down at the crossroads, very clever. Very sneaky by this Pepsi man. Although right in front of Seph's, meaning he's just going to shoot them. Oh, the airborne run into it and immediately lose 2 men. Less than good. Let's return to Seph, who's definitely run into the considerable headache. And now being forced to retreat right past the minefield again. And Titanian is up, and Cadencrat barely avoids the fate of most explosive. Cadencrat waiting up here. More butterfly bombs going on, and looks like Pepsi's getting ready for that final push. Mortar half-tracks, Panthers, Panzer Grenadiers, 40 Megas, Luftwaffe troops, you name it, he's going in. All in fact. Vorwärts, Männer! Zerstören Sie die Amerikaner! Stuff like that, basically. And there is nothing that Seph can really do to muster any sort of decent resistance anymore. He's got some anti-tank guns. The question is, will they suffice to hold back the onslaught of Pepsi? And the 10th SS Ausklärungstruppen. And there we go, strafing run, getting a few of the Panzer Grenadiers, but not enough. And there we go, armor cars quickly opening up on the aircraft. Grenade, oh, doesn't quite manage to do anything to the Panzer Grenadiers. A bit of a shame there. Anti-tank guns ring out, and mortar half-track gets off some good shots. Bombarding the American positions. Another anti-tank getting called down. Panthers blasting away. Luftwaffe troops, Panzer guns falling down. And we're seeing more and more Americans being fed into this madness, this pandemonium, as Seph is under severe pressure. Panthers blasting away the 75mm guns. Unleashing high velocity rounds, armored cars, mortar rounds just continue to rain down. Shell after shell, setting off the mine that Seph had laid down earlier, killing more riflemen. And now we go, Panther actually goes down. Seph actually kills a Panther. But the marketplace has been turned into a fortress even with the destruction of the Panther. It rather looks like that Seph cannot make the advancement. He cannot progress. And the rain of mortar rounds is simply too much.
losing a munitions sector.
Luftwaffe troops though pushing forward.
What are my coordinates?
Casualties being
And there we go, they score a kill and clear out the anti-tank gun crew very heroically. One remaining anti-tank gun getting bombarded, and there we go, a shot from the Panther finish it off. And this looks like to be an utter disaster of the 1st Infantry. They did their best to hold the line, but sadly it was not enough.
Paratroopers on point. Back in full fighting strength.
And this is rather looking like GG's. Let's speed it up.
we're down to
Moving up there. Coming under fire from the Fortune Jaegers. Grenade going off, killing one. Poor sod. But again, not really much Seph can do. Points are quickly ticking away.
25 points. Our forces are taking casualties.
There we go, down to 2 units, and GG and game over. Pepsi scores the victory, defeating Seph in the progress and killing an awful lot of Americans. So there you go. Some interesting play from Seph, but I think the problem basically came down to he made a series of wrong calls. Partly the first was initially the anti-tank moving too forwards there, losing an ability to really, keep Pepsi back with an anti-tank gun. The second one was the bombing run and the Hellcats. He should have partly been more aggressive with the Hellcats, and partly he probably should have waited with the bombing run to wait until it was a bit harder for Pepsi to move. Pepsi, though, rather for the larger part, standard Panzer play, handled it quite nicely. Nothing, highly out of the ordinary there, I'd say. I mean, he did alright. I mean, there was great harassment from him, though. Pepsi really doing a great job with the Kettenkrats. That was definitely good to notice. And, of course, another thing I would like to see from Seph would have been a medic station. That, I think, could also have benefited him. But there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. I hope you learned something from it. If you did, why not subscribe and tell your friends? If you didn't, well, why not send a replay of your own? This is Imperial Dane, saying cheers.